Ontario, and together with my parents, Jane and Elaine, we own the Waterfront River Pub and Terrace in Napanee, Ontario. So the year is 2020, and unfortunately, like many other businesses, we had to shut our doors earlier this year in March, and we were closed till about June 12th, so about 3 months in total. And like many other businesses, we very suddenly had a lot more time on our hands. Like a lot more time. So we decided to look at this as an opportunity to get a few things done that we don't normally get done. For example, I did some painting, we did some light renovations, just some touch-ups to get us sort of refreshed when we were eventually to open again, whenever that was to be. And one of those things that I got to redo was Captain Jack. So who exactly is Captain Jack? Well, he is kind of our mascot at this point. He was brought to us in 2017 by Heritage Living Homes, and I will make sure to put all their business information right here in case you want to go check them out. Jack stands right on the entrance of the patio as you walk in. So he spends most of his days sunbathing, greeting guests, posing for pictures. He is very handsome. And with all that standing out there year round for 3 years now, or so 3.5 years, he has been exposed to some Canadian weather elements that are kind of harsh. So you've got your sun UV exposure, of course, regular rain, freezing rain, sleet, hail, snow, ice, you name it. So much like any pirate, he was in need of a little exfoliation, a little self-care, if you will, and I will. Anyway, keep watching and you can join me on my little adventure of how I restored Captain Jack to his former handsome self. I love this photo. This is when Jack was still being carved, of course, and sort of midway through the project. And here is a photo of him when he was completely done and before he came to us, so I kind of used this as a reference. I did actually remember to take some before pictures this time. I often find I forget to, and I always just feel like it's a wasted opportunity just to take a reference point to look back on later. And we begin. To start, I needed some painter's tarp, of course, to keep my materials from staining the patio. And I used a rotary sander. Very essential, I love this thing. A low grit sandpaper for removing the old stain, I found 60 did the job well, and a higher grit like 120 to prep the wood for the new stain. I used some rags and brushes that I had a death wish upon, and of course, the stains. Captain Jack has various colors for different parts of him, like his hair, his skin, coat, pants, boots, etc. So he needed a variety of stains to match. This was an adventure in its own, and I will get into that in just a minute. Always remember to wear gloves because although stain is beautiful, it is very toxic. Last thing, your talented self. Quick backstory about me, I have known myself to have a bit of a fear of failure at times, and I feel that it holds me back. To be honest, I felt quite out of my element and intimidated by this project at first, and I have identified 2 reasons for this. 1, I am far from a professional wood stainer, statue restorer person, and 2, I was afraid something like this would happen. Jack sits front and center, and being so highly visible, I wanted him to look not only amazing, but as close to his original form as I could possibly do. So let's use that psych degree and talk about how does one get over such a strong fear of failure. Start by asking for advice from knowledgeable, experienced people. They've done this before, they've come across those inevitable rookie mistakes, and they have learned from them. Besides, chances are they will actively want to help you because they're passionate and interested in the subject you're working on. This will ease your anxieties about starting because you have reassurance that you're headed down the right path. For example, I started this project by just taking a picture of Jack and heading down to our local Napanee home harbor. Shout out to Jen and Marg in the paint department specifically, who always help me out on these types of things. They advised me on what I would need and helped me pick out the right stains by referring to the picture I had. It was as simple as comparing sample swatches with the colors on the statue. I thought it might be more complex than that, but really that was all there was to it, and suddenly it seemed more doable. 2. Ask yourself if you are motivated by the carrot or the stick. I truly believe there are 2 basic things that drive our decision making: the pursuit of joy and comfort, and the avoidance of pain and discomfort. By being fearful of doing a bad job, or what would be failing in your eyes, you are giving your attention to only what could go wrong. Just like when you're driving a car, wherever you look is where you will go. If you shift your perspective to what a success to you could look like, you will be focused on those details that will actually help you in doing a good job. Then you will have ideas to move forward instead of being paralyzed into inaction by fearing the consequences. All that to say, start paying attention to the carrot. 3. Define what the actual consequences are of not living up to the expectations you have set for yourself. Ask what a failure looks like to you and evaluate if that is really the end of the world. Everyone's going to think it's ugly, they're going to think I'm an untalented amateur, I'm going to ruin it, people will be mad at me. But what if that did happen and your project turned out horrible? Ask yourself these questions. Would it be able to be redone? Would people be understanding? Would you be forgiven? Would there be someone to help you fix it? In all likelihood, absolutely yes. Just because you see a certain outcome as the end of all days doesn't mean others view it as the same disaster. Maybe a failure in your mind feels like not an option, when in reality, even if something is not ideal, things will actually still be okay. So this project is a really wonderful example of how it's okay to make mistakes while you're still learning. So I had painted this sash of his in more of an orange color, closer to the original, and it just didn't look quite right. So I thought, I think it's best to just sand it off. And I was able to do that because it was a reversible mistake and that was okay. And so I just painted it a light brown and moved on and everything was great. 4. Have some faith in your skills that you will actually do a good job. Realistically evaluate what you've done in the past and remember what you are capable of. Have you done something similar? Did it go well? You are your main motivator. Other people helping with that is awesome, but it is ultimately up to you. And finally, number 5, when you do push yourself out of your comfort zone, actually take the time to be proud of yourself. It can be nerve-wracking and difficult to move past fears, especially ones that are deep-seated. Even though it is always helpful to look forward at what lies ahead, remember to take note of how good this feels to have actually done the thing. Hold on to that for the next time you want to challenge yourself, and it will get easier every time, I promise. All right, now that we are done our self-help lesson of the day, let's check out what he looks like in his final stages. Very exciting. So I added at least 3 coats of varathane here, and what that does is not only seal in the colors underneath, but also add a barrier for future protection from the weather elements we discussed earlier. And so once all those coats were dried and applied, let's check out what he looks like today. Thanks for watching. If you liked this, don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a really superb day. Okay, bye.